So day 3 is here, and I've completed that, so I wanted to go over what I did to get those missions out of the way. But first, I wanted to talk about something that sort of troubles free-to-play players, low-spending players, because I think what ends up happening in communities is, even though the information is good from the whales, you know, people like Shiny or Giku or anyone on the game you've seen so far, MZ, who might be spending, it's hard for some people to trust that information because obviously you do see them spending, right? Look at me, I come from Dokkan Battle predominantly, and most of the information I get is from someone like The Truth, right? Biggest content creator in the space. I know some people play Dragon Ball Legends, they get their information from Garesh, you know, big whales in the space, right? And they like seeing the previews and, you know, how reviews of the character, and they love seeing the summons. But once it comes to their opinions on how free-to-play players should feel, I've noticed that there is a lot of sort of resentment from those same players because they sort of see them as, how can you relate to me as someone who is free-to-play when you are spending so much, right? True says that he has to spend thousands of dollars to rainbow these characters on Dokkan, right? That's far and away from what we're doing. So you can see I bring this up because I was watching a video by Shiny, very good video, talking about Hitsugaya and what we could expect from him. Obviously, we've only seen him in his like beta alpha form, so we haven't seen like what they might have planned for this character on release. As well as if we go to the gacha here and look, 49.55 Jade. I have not spent a single Jade on anything, right? And the only thing I've pulled on for this Ichigo, if you remember, just to, you know, clear that up, is 10 pulls that we got from the thank you reward in our mail. So these 10 pulls, which will transfer over to the Hitsugaya banner, are accounted for. Nothing has been spent in Jade. We can go to Mega Deals. We can see that no purchases here, no purchases here, no purchases here. You know, I'm just going them down, no purchases. You know, free to play is right here, level up box. Free to play right here, level up box. Hoping for those soon. And, you know, I'm doing all this, again, no purchases here. Doing all this just to, you know, really hammer home that I don't even think that Bleach Soul Resonance looks like a bad game to spend a weekly or like a monthly subscription on. The pay for price in this game looks pretty good. Again, free to play. Make sure you're grabbing your energy daily. This restores in 7 hours for me. Probably about 6 hours for you when this video goes up. But you can see that, you know, I'm holding it down, man. I'm holding it down. I'm saving. I always say in Dokkan, if I'm saving, you should probably be saving. In this case, I don't believe that. It's just I'm saving for a character I want. While I do think this Ichigo is cool, Bankai Ichigo, of course, the one thing we don't know is what will banners look like? What will the currency look like in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months? The summoning system is good, but we can only sort of do predictive measures to understand, well, when will that dry up for us? Right? The summoning system will remain good, but in gacha, the first few weeks, the first month, the first 2 months, it looks really good, right? It always looks really good. There's content flowing, there's currency flowing, there's rewards and gifts flowing, but we don't know what the horizon looks like because this game is very new, right? We just know that right now the pay for deals are objectively very good. But because I'm not paying and supposedly if you're on this video you're not paying, we have to be a little careful, you know? We have to be careful. Why wouldn't we be, right? So it's looking like, one, pity will transfer. So you see that number 10 out of 80, pity will transfer, which means you will consistently get the characters you're looking for. Weapons are pretty easy to get if you're counting pity, right? 120 overall to essentially get the full version, full quote-unquote, fullest version of the character you want, means you always have a number. You always have a number, right? You never are blindsided by a banner. You're never just like, oh, I pulled this, so, you know, I pulled this and I didn't pull that, so, you know, now I'm ruined because I saved up all these stones, like Dokkan for a long time. I tell people now that Dokkan has pity, you should never be surprised. If Dokkan has pity, Dokkan took 9-10 years to get proper pity in the game, and people are still surprised when they don't pull a unit. They get quote-unquote shafted. You can't get shafted on Bleach Soul Resonance. You pull or you don't. And that's what free-to-play players need to understand. You can see here I actually hit another SSR. We're going to go over that in the day 3 section. But as far as like, oh, should I pull on Ichigo? Should I pull on this? Hey, listen, big dog. Let me just tell you in the most simple terms possible. I need to get to level 28. I am level 27 right now. Look at the content. 27, 27, 33, 33, 24, 24, 30, 30, 24, 24, 24, 24, 24, 24. 12, 12, 12. Go to trial. We're still clearing through the first times, but obviously this isn't hard content. This is just, spending your stamina. Got my 2 weekly attempts done. Beat them solo. Didn't need to recruit a team for it. Go to challenges. We're crushing through this. Easy. Easy, we're crushing through this. Again, completely free to play. No big summons. Characters level 40, right? Again, there's a little bit of spoiler time for when I actually go through the day 3s, but I just want to show people that, like, what did I need Bankai Ichigo for? This is the most content we can do right now as free to plays. Remember, we can't push because we're saving and we don't want to spend our Jade on stamina. Maybe you are, but for the most part, we don't want to spend our Jade on stamina, right? So the question becomes, do you love Ichigo? Like Bankai Ichigo? For me, Ichigo is not really a protagonist that is like, oh my god, he's so sick. For me. Do I think Ichigo's lame? No. It's just, for me, I could take or leave Ichigo when it comes to protagonists. The reason I like Bleach is its side characters, its villains, etc., right? But if you love Ichigo, if that's your GOAT, right? It's a really good character, obviously. I think it's just like, we sort of lose the plot beyond that. This is a PvE game, it's not a PvP game. We can't even, as free-to-play players, maybe even low-spending players, or some of you are low-spending, we can't even get to the things that you might need this guy for, and need Hitsugaya for, and need, Gin for, and need Rengiku for, and need Kenpachi for. I'm just saving for Kenpachi, essentially. I do think that I'm interested in maybe Hitsugaya. He seems like a really cool character, but beyond that, I just got my boy that I started the game with, and I did not reroll. If you're going to spend on one thing and then spend on the next thing, and you really want to like dig into this Jade count, I would suggest rerolling for Ichigo. Even if you're 2 days in, if you skipped pulling for Ichigo, like you skipped rerolling, and you still want to like now just suddenly you want to start pulling for Ichigo, then why didn't you reroll? You know what I mean? Like, because this is essentially a free character if you reroll. I just didn't want to reroll. I said, I don't really care about it, Bankai Ichigo that much. I don't feel like rerolling, right? So, I mean, that's just me personally, right? I hope that makes sense. I guess we'll get into the regular video now. Beyond that, Hitsugaya does a good, I think, as far as characters go. Shiny said it. Ichigo probably looks like a better character, but he has a team that is not hurting for options. We can go right here. We can click the selector. 2 of the literal best characters in the game, including arguably the best character in the game, Urahara, are on that team, which means you could put any red DPS on that team. And ooh, spoiler for who I got, but you can put any red DPS on that team and you'll have a fine time. So let's get into the real stuff. Day 3 has come and gone for our missions here, and you can see I have them all accounted for. Check in for 3 days, of course. 3 characters reach 40. 3 weapons reach 40. Let's go ahead and mob that out real quick. As you saw, a little spoiler there, but Sajin Komamura, of course, was my first 40, as well as getting his weapon to 40 here. You can also see I'm using the I've been waiting for you free-to-play stamp that we got on him. Looks pretty good. All right. Review of Sajin Komamura. Now that I've been essentially using him as my main unit, you can see he has the highest power on my team. This character is a carry. He has like the battlefield skill here, which is meant to feel like, oh, he's like a support supporting character, obviously. But of the Battlefield characters, if we're really going to look at them in totality, like when you look at a character like Tozen or Byakuya, you really want them off the battlefield. I feel like Komamura, you want him throwing hands. His ult is crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if there are some cheese strats with this character's ultimate down the road, and we actually see him get shot up to a higher position. Because when he is in his ultimate, he can't drop below 1 HP. And I just could, like I said, I could just see that leading to some interesting outcomes for clearing. I could see maybe this character doesn't, clear the fastest, do the most damage, and thus he can't like sit on leaderboard. But if you're a free-to-play player and you happen to get this character, I could see him being like, oh, you just cheese the stage with Komamura. Like, maybe he's like S tier, but he can't go like to double S tier. But he is like, you just cheese the stage with him. Like, he's good for that. Because type advantage, type disadvantage, I haven't seen him have a problem. He's really bullying the stages. But once we get into mono teams and stuff, I'm sure he'll quiet down a little bit. Yoruichi, this was my second SSR, which is pretty cool. Obviously, I would have wanted Urahara if I was going to get something. But what I will say is that getting Yoruichi essentially completes the team in a small way. Because it means that now I can just pull for Kisuke, and now this team's done. And then I can pull, and then I can just like put together my red team here, and then that team's done. Like, this will just be my red team. Right? So that's pretty cool. Yoruichi, how has Yoruichi been? You can see 40-40. I think the reason her power isn't as high is because I'm using this stamp. We'll have to replace it at some point. But how has Yoruichi been? I think Yoruichi is really good and fun. I think she's more fun than she is like good. And she might be one of the harder characters to just be using in general. I don't think what she does is obvious, but I do think it's like a very like interesting cycle is what I'd say. It doesn't feel very spammy. It feels like you're kind of constantly doing things between Shunko and making use of your windows, stomping, going into your lightning flash or whatever your Hakuda stomping strikes, and doing doing perfect dodges and things like that. Like tap the basic attack upon instead of perform the fifth strike of her basic attack. I think she's really cool. But like I said, probably not as strong as just getting like Ikaku, obviously. Not as strong as just getting Tozen, not as strong as just getting Urahara, not as strong as... is there anyone else? Is she the weakest 5-star? Let me just check one more time. Would I consider the weakest 5-star? It's her or Komamura for sure. Yeah. My account, it's really funny. In my account, I got Tozen in the beta. And for this one, I have essentially gotten the two weakest 5-stars, which is, it's funny how the world works out, right? I am going to go for the standard banner one last time, and then I'll do my selector after. But, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, outside of that, who is my third? Oh yeah, it looks like I got a little bevy of 40. I did get Yuryu to 40 just because, but you can see I haven't done it, just because I've gotten his stamp, like his special stamp. I got his special weapon. I figured, like, if I end up getting like Ikaku or something, I'm probably not gonna have like Tozen, so he'll be a good stand-in for, that part of the game. Ichigo, also he's a generalist support. Remember that? He is a generalist support, I believe. So 15 increased type damage. All right. So that is pretty good. Shikai Ichigo is obvious. I literally just don't have Bankai Ichigo, and red is the strongest color right now, so might as well just fill him in. Yachiro, just to go over again, is the support character that I'm using. Nothing really to say there. If I had another one, I'd probably be using them, but why not? She's just filling out the team here. Next, a little bit of business. So both of my characters 40, did my chapter clear that is self-evident, and clear any stage in battle, rewind, training, and desperation. Any stage in battle, rewind, training, and desperation. That is the thing I talked about here. Yeah, this content's not too hard. You know, it's obviously just like a farm stage, so not anything too crazy. You can see that we'll get more difficulties as the player level rockets up, but yeah, other than that, I think that has been day 3. Day 3's been pretty good. I'll be level 28, maybe 29 by the end of today, which is cool. Maybe I'll push some stamina to get forward, but like I said, this video hopefully was just enlightening for people who are like, I see all the content creators starting to use Bankai Ichigo. I see them saying that I need Bankai Ichigo and I need Hitsugaya. I mean, so far I'm doing fine. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it'll come up in a bit, but like I said, I'm doing fine so far. So try not to worry about it too much. Try not to stress. If you want Bankai Ichigo, if you want to pull on Hitsugaya and you want Bankai Ichigo and you're two or 3 days in, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Why didn't you reroll? That is the advice that they're not telling, like, people aren't saying to you, and they need to put it bluntly. Why didn't you reroll if you want Bankai Ichigo and Hitsugaya? Because otherwise, we saving. With all that being said, though, like if you like the video, subscribe to the club, we all gonna make it, and peace.